That's good.
Bread rant?
Sure.
So
Can we get 60 seconds on the clock, please?
something I like when I was in Liverpool. So I worked as an astronomer until about a little more than a year ago, and it's a very international science. Well, science tends to be international, but I think astronomy is especially international.
Bigger.
And something I didn't understand, and having lived in the Anglosphere up until that point, it's like non-Anglophones complaining about bread. And like I remember a Brazilian and a French person complaining about bread in Britain and the US when they'd lived in those countries, and like I didn't quite understand that. Because I thought, there's bread, it's fine. And then I moved to Sweden, which is maybe not the best bread country in Europe. And I was like, oh right, a lot of Anglosphere bread is terrible. Like there is like you can go to good bakeries and get good bread in the Anglosphere, but what you find in a grocery store, and even like the posh grocery store bread here, really doesn't stack up.
So if you speak English, you have bad bread.
Probably.
Not necessarily,
Not
but
necessarily. Okay.
like there was also like in Liverpool there was also a really good bakery that did these amazing grilled cheese sandwiches,
Oh, okay.
but like had weird opening hours.
Si je parle français, est-ce que je peux avoir de pain blanc?
Do you think? I was thinking like why would I was thinking like in particular in North America, there's a lot of the sort of traveling, you know, a lot of our historical cooking and stuff is like, you know, making stuff that will like just last a really long time, or be
Shelf
be
life
like
is
be
king.
good shelf stable because it's such a really big countries.
God,
Yeah.
no.
and so you know you have to live through this horrible winter and all these different things, and so I feel like maybe we neglected the development of nicer breads in favor of, you know, more kind of solid, just trying to fit as much calories into a smaller space as possible.
I just flashed back to when Cameron first got really into the terror and started making his own hardtack.
I think, well, different countries, cultures have different relationships with food. And I think actually in the case was of the Anglosphere, was, so sorry. The problem I don't think was trying to produce shelf stable bread, because like a good sourdough can last a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
Like not maybe not like ship it across the country long, but because that was one of the things discoveries about Swedish bread was, oh, this actually lasts a week and still good. It is people aren't willing to pay for good bread to make a good quality sourdough, for example. It is an involved process.
Yes.
People like the
Very
culture.
much is, yeah.
The culture in a lot of Anglosphere food culture in a lot of Anglosphere countries, people want cheap bread. So like, how can you cook up bread in a way quickly and cheaply? And those breads aren't as good.
I wonder if it is like a mid-century wartime kind of carryover, because like bread is, you know, in North America, well, North American, I mean Canadian and U.S. culture, it's kind of like a mainstay of the mid-century white housewife. Like it's like whipping up sandwiches for your man and your kids, right? Like I wonder if it got rolled into like convenience foods.
Yeah, I don't know.
Add sugar, make better.
Yeah, I mean that's also, you get the what sort of Wonder Bread style.
Yeah. I do know a lot of like modern grocery stuff is still very dominated by just how like shelf life. I learned fairly recently that 99% of mushrooms are produced in China. which is why we have one type of mushroom, which is the one that you can ship places and have it not dry out.
Well, unless you go to Chinese grocery stores and get the good dried mushrooms.
Yes. But yeah.
I don't know. As a poor, I really appreciate the long shelf life, if low quality breads,
Yeah.
because I can't afford for my bread to go bad before I can eat it all.
Yeah, but a lot of it's like supply chain stuff of like it's easier to produce a large amount in one place and ship that everywhere than it is to have a million different small places that ship smaller amounts.
I did think it's funny that in Japan, when you go buy bread, there are places that's like you can get like 8 slices, 12 slices, 16 slices. So if you're
Different sizes of bread.
yeah, because I think they cottoned onto the idea pretty fast. It's like not everyone wants to buy a full loaf of bread because Japan was never traditionally a bread-eating country, and so. But if you can say like, hey, maybe you just want to buy 8 slices, so you have that to work with for the oncoming week. You're maybe going to eat 1 slice a day or something.
I like that.
You know, kind of an interesting idea to come at it. You know, meet people where they are. Like you don't rather be like, here's 28 slices of bread. It's like, great, I'm going to throw half of that away.
Also,
Now-
the idea of being able to buy multiple kinds of bread in just small quantities would be really cool. I guess.
I do distinctly remember buying some bread out of a small truck when I was in Tokyo last.
Nice.
I'm now thinking about bread and urbanism. So
Urbanism.
yes, so like in the talking about mid-century North American culture, this is the culture of we are going to drive to the supermarket once a week.
Yes.
We
Right.
can't walk to a bakery,
Right.
Because there's
Yes.
because we're in this vast car-dominated suburb, whereas in a lot of Europe, the urbanism is different, and you can, through a combination of better public transit and more dense cities, but this is a little bit more complicated. It's easier to walk to shops to get. It's like, oh, I'm going to get bread for a couple days.
Yeah, and it's likely that you might even be passing that place on your way home. So you're like, oh, yeah, I'll get I'll pick up a baguette and I'll pick up like what I'm going to eat for the next night or two, and kind of do it all in one, and then walk home with the bag with the baguette sticking out of it jauntily. Shorthand for I just did shopping.
Or like put it in the basket on my bicycle.
Exactly right. Yeah.
I do. I mean, yeah, I do. I try to sort of mix that, like, because I like, because I do tend to be one of those people. Like, I tend to try to avoid like buying big group a lot of stuff because you end up throwing away a lot of stuff because of loading ready run and various other things. My eating schedule tends to be a little bit unpredictable, and so I'll be like, I have all this tasty stuff that I'm ready to make food for, and then the next couple days I don't actually have time to make it, and then it's been not so good. So I do appreciate that. There are a couple of grocery stores that are roughly on the way home, so I will often do that. But there is a certain. It feels inefficient to do it that way, but maybe that's okay.
Whereas I order all my groceries for the month online, and then I go pick them up and bring them home and stuff them in my fridge and my freezer.
I mean,
And then I just supplement where I need to from time to time from another grocery store.
I do that with pantry stuff, but I have started in the last year or so. I've actually committed to committing to actually eating fruits and vegetables on a regular
great.
basis,
Yeah.
which I love for me. Thank you. I've been spending more time in Chinatown, and so I've really committed to the idea of I'm going to go to a grocery store probably at least a couple of times a week. Buy the vegetables and fruits that I'm going to be eating over the next 2 days.
Right.
And especially for vegetables, it's I'm buying the vegetables that I'm going to cook tonight.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't feel like cooking vegetables that night, I'm not going to buy vegetables that night.
Ah, okay.
but I mean, delivery, especially for those of us who don't have cars and stuff,
Yeah.
delivery is still very useful for I need a bag of potatoes, or I need
Yep.
the stuff or milk, or the sort of
milk, yeah.
the staple stuff.
Except potatoes in this friggin' climate, in Victoria. I don't know if I'm not the only one.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, it's not just me.
But they
Potatoes sprout so friggin' fast in this town, and I
Yeah.
don't know why.
I have a big enough fridge that now I've been storing my potatoes in a low humidity crisper in my fridge.
I
And
will-
I know that's not ideal, but at least it keeps them dry.
Sprouted potatoes are the weirdest, especially because often you're like reach your hand in to
it's
somewhere
spiky.
that's like dark.
Yeah.
And
Touch
you're
something
like,
unfamiliar.
you're like, oh, there's a tentacle in there. Why is there a tentacle?
No, I look away from those things for 5 seconds, and suddenly there's like a mutant chia pet on the top of my fridge.
My mother did teach me that she's like, when I would come back with potatoes that have started to sprout, she's like, okay, cool. And I just watch her snap the eyes off them, right? Like she's like, tick, 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 tick. And I'm like, okay, those are safe to touch. Like it was
Yeah.
kind of a thing of like, I don't know what to do about this. And she's like, it's you take them off, you throw those bits away, and then you eat the potato. Like you don't throw the potato away and like, okay, I understand. You eat the food. That's what you do. Okay, great. This has not gone bad. She's like, no, it's not. It's a potato. You eat it. You eat the potato.
It's
like,
just
okay.
gained sentience.
Yeah, exactly. It's trying to grow. It's like shouldn't
I
be
mean,
trying to
the-
grow, should it?
It's fine to eat sprouted potato. The texture of the actual flesh of the potato starts changing as things go on, though. It becomes not so good.
Yeah, but the important thing is you've paid for that potato, so you're damn well going to eat it. Doesn't matter what state it's in at that point. You're going to eat the potato as long as it hasn't gone green. It's like we bought that thing, and now it goes in your body.
Just replant it and make more potatoes.
Yeah,
Inside you.
yeah. Plant it inside me.
No, in dirt.